Hey everyone, for today for my John Maxwell, I'm using A Leader's Heart. So this book has reflections for each day that you can focus on. And as always, I'm continuing to pray for the Lord to bless my work, to bless my ministry, and to help me to excel in whatever I do, and to open the right opportunities for me where I can use my gifts and my talents. In the past, when I was working, just like my family, my mother, my aunt, my cousins, I hosted dinners. I had parties for my mother for her birthday, both here in Canada and in Zimbabwe. For Mother's Day, I used to make my mother breakfast in bed. So I spoiled her. I took her out to movies. I did a lot for all of them. But obviously, when I'm not working, I can't do those things. The same way as if Newman Center asks me to commit $85 a month, or Blessed Sacrament asks me to commit $10 a month, I can't do it because I don't have an income coming in, so I don't have any way to live. It's impossible for me to do it. That's why I'm looking for a good paid job, and I'm looking for something that is going to help me to achieve those financial goals that I want to meet for myself, for my family. And ultimately, when we're working, who are we working for? We're working for ourselves. We're working for ourselves and for God. We're working to earn that paycheck that we want to come in at the end of the month or at the end of that 2 weeks. We're not working so that the company just gets rich. We're working for ourselves because we have career aims, we have goals, we have things we want to do. And that's why all of us are working. If we didn't want to achieve things in life, if we didn't want to see our lives get better, if we didn't want to see our families get better, to come up financially, we wouldn't want to work. We'd just be happy to say, oh well, I'll just take money from the government, I'll get that money off the dole, I'll just sit at home. And, why not? Society owes me it, right? But we don't do that. We work and we commit our plans unto the Lord. And I think that's important. That's also the teaching that was for the John Maxwell that I read. And there's a place in here where you can, if you want. I don't write in my books, but if you want, there's a place where you can write down your reflections, what the scripture meant to you. The scripture today was from, for June 16th, it was Acts 9:26 to 27. And it was about the opportunities that were available to the disciples. So often opportunities don't look like opportunities. They're seldom labeled as opportunities. But when people step up, when people say, yes, I'm willing to help, I'm willing to do this, out of that comes the opportunity. And out of that comes opportunities, or even meeting people that you wouldn't have expected. You wouldn't think that, okay, this is going to lead to something down the line for me. But we have to always be available to step up, to say, yeah, sure, I can do that. It doesn't matter if it's big or if it's small. We have to be willing to learn along the way, and also be willing to be persistent in what it is that we're aiming for. When I took a course with my professor, Scott Lewis, he was saying how in the Bible, women who didn't have children were always stigmatized. So you'll find this in the Bible, that when there's married couples or there's women, they have this desire for children and this prayer, commitment to prayer, that asking God to please bless us with children. A lot of that stigma has fallen away, especially if women have their own careers, their own ministries, they're helping other people. But in those days, it was seen as a curse if you were married and you couldn't have children, or if you were in a relationship and you were not bearing children. And some of that still exists in some parts of the world. and it still happens in some parts of the world. But in our society today, we are lucky, we are fortunate that some of that stigma has fallen away. And especially for those of us who are single, we want to carry on working. We want to be able to make those trips independently. We want to be able to host dinners and have people over. We want to be able to be included. So Sonal, who was heading the ministry at Regis College, she had opportunities to go with the priest to World Youth Day, to places where the Pope was. She had those opportunities with them. And so people like me, women like me, also want those opportunities. We want Regis College to include us when they are taking people out as alumni of the college to go see the Pope, to go to World Youth Day, to have those same opportunities, because not all of us get them. So for me, that's what I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on where are the opportunities and how can I seize them? Where can I use my gifts? And continuing to pray for the Lord to open up those right opportunities for me. I encourage my friends and family to do the same. Many of my friends have beautiful singing voices. They don't do what I do. They don't put it on Facebook, but they like it when I do it. So I would encourage them to do the same, because they have beautiful singing voices. And some of them will record, their whole family will sing happy birthday, and then they'll send it to me for my birthday. So there's different ways we can use our gifts and talents. It doesn't always have to be paid employment. When I volunteer, it's unpaid. These talks that I'm doing are unpaid. But I'm doing it because it's something that other people can listen to and they can benefit from, instead of just sitting at home and spending the whole day on the computer applying for jobs. Somebody might say, you know what, she's got good skills as a speaker, or she's got good skills with recording her videos. A call came in when I was making my video, but I turned it off. So we know how to control things, we know how to do things, and those are the gifts and the talents that we can bring to other organizations. I don't have money to give right now to the church, but Father Larry still encourages me to come. He'll still say, I didn't see you at church this week. Or are you better now? Because at one point I was getting very, very heavy nosebleeds from the high blood pressure. And I had told him I'm taking a break from coming to church. But I still went on the days when I was feeling good. I don't go to church every day, but I keep them informed about what I'm doing, what I would like to do. And so that's where this reflection piece is important for me. And for other John Maxwell speakers, because if all of us are trying to build up our ministries, build up our speaking engagements. Many of the John Maxwell speakers are heads of departments. They're working in companies where the company has asked them to use that John Maxwell or to teach it or to have classes set up within the organization where they can use the leadership development skills, where they can train people, whether it's on the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth or other books that we have available. Everybody communicates, few connect. So other people are doing that within their companies. And I also had offered to do it at Teleperformance. They didn't want it at the time, but who knows, maybe down the line something will open up for me there. With the reflection piece, I'm doing it because many of my friends are Christians. Many of us enjoy reading the scriptures, reflecting on them. And when you're unemployed, that faith piece becomes even more important because you have to dig your heels in, so to speak. You have to put your faith in the Lord because people are always going to try to test your mettle. They're always going to try to see how far they can push you and that they are superior to you. They're born here, so they know better than you. And you should be taking the direction, not giving it. But many of us want to be on the opposite side. We want to be the ones now, not just supporting, but giving the direction, not drinking the milk, but actually being treated like adults, drinking the coffee. So those are just analogies that I'm giving so that you can see, because part of that comes in, especially when you work like as an executive assistant, or you work in communications, or you're working organizing events. You have to be able to be disciplined, to be organized. You have to be able to give others direction, to communicate clearly. So it's important to understand the language and how people talk and how they communicate within the culture that you're in. So that's what I wanted to share for today. I also have my calendar. So this is a calendar with scripture on it. And I like to read it in the morning because it gives me that little bit of inspiration. It gives me that little bit of saying, okay, what's the thought for today? What's the scripture for today? What can I look at today? And yes, I do read the Bible scriptures for the church as well. I do focus on those. But I think it's important for me right now. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to under ministry. You can do it in a secular way, in thanking God for my abilities. I'm putting God first. But when I used to go for my outplacement with the different outplacement like KWA, they don't put it under God. They'll say, what are your past successes? What are your skills? And what are the areas you want to improve in? So it's doing the same thing, except for me, I'm putting it under the Lord. Because ultimately, I work for myself and I work unto God's glory. So that's what I'm taking with me into my day. And I've always been somebody to work for myself. Even if I'm working for a company, I'm working for myself. I'm doing it because at the end of the day, I need that paycheck. And hopefully I get those promotions, I get that extra special treatment. And believe you me, the Jesuits are very, very upset that I've never been given any exceptions. I've never been given any special treatment. I've never been given any special consideration. Because it's not my mother's life, it's not my sister's life, it's not my brother's life, it's my life. And they also want me to have those exceptions made, to be given that special treatment, to be given the nice hotels to stay in, to be given those opportunities to host, not just to be invited. And that's what I also want for myself. And when I work as an executive assistant, when I work in a company, if they're always telling me they don't want to know what I think, they don't care what I say, this is the policy, I just say, yeah, you know what, I agree. I say, yeah. Say, oh, they're taking the jobs to South Africa. Do you think it will work? I'll say, no, of course it's not going to work. Canada's better. And the South Africans will outshine them every time. Because that's what they want to hear. If I tell them it's going to work, if you look at my work ethic, I trained in South Africa. So if I did well for you, the South Africans are going to do well for you. Do you think they'll like it? They won't like it. They say, you know what? That's it. I'm done. I'm uncomfortable with what this woman's saying. Who does she think she is? You came here from Africa and that's your attitude? So I just tell them what they want to hear. And I'm glad the South Africans outshined everybody, because you know what? That's what I do when I'm employed. And instead of promoting me, instead of giving me the good paid jobs, instead of treating me with that extra special treatment, they kick me out. They lay me off. So I'm looking for that next opportunity. And I'm praying that God's going to give me that right company that's going to treat me right and help me to grow my John Maxwell and my spiritual direction. Because I deserve better from Canada, including the police. I deserve better.